It's kind of going back and forth with the pigment, trying to describe. We're trying to describe with mark making what that vegetation's doing, what the rock is doing. Basically, we're solving problems throughout the painting process. I used to love, in the early days, the ideas of the step-by-step descriptions in books. Like, oh, this, and bam, you got this great painting. But knowing so many professionals now and have painted for all these years, there's no step 1, step 2, step 3. It really is sort of an ebb and flow in terms of how the process is achieved. And that's part of the excitement of painting. You know, just there's a sense of control, but there's also a sense of no control. Okay, I'm just, chipping away at this, but the idea of this fundamental basic dark shape is holding all the little stuff together. Without it, it would look like just a bunch of little spots. So when I'm doing changes of value here in the light areas, I try to keep the values similar. I don't want a dark value here to break the dark value there. So you can't see it, but I'm squinting as I lay a value down. I squint, and then I'm using the darks as my comparison. I try to. It's a beautiful tone, and if it works, I could see it working in the wash here, and perhaps some of it in there. Okay, so as I come forward, I'm also thinking the value, but then I try to think temperature too. So I try to introduce the warmer notes of color as I come forward. Now I'm going in with a bit of this blue. I'm going to exaggerate the blue in the cast shadows because the blue will highlight the warms in the shadow areas. So this is what I'm adding now. It's a bit of hard new pastel. It's a really nice blue shade that I find very useful. It's kind of a grade down blue. And that's... it's a go-to blue for lots of, when you need that blue that's not too intense. And I'm using it right on the edge of things just to get a little bit of that skylight coming into the landscape. That little bit of the skylight that's hitting the edges of things. Sometimes you can catch the cool color from the sky coming onto that plane. You get bits of blue cast in areas. I wanted to kind of consolidate those darks because they were, you had a lot of holes in the darks. In the light, you can have the holes of light, you know, the little spots of light, and they seem to, you get that in nature, you get little bits of kind of popping light. Yeah, but in shadow, it's always sort of, it just compresses the light. You don't see those little glints of light. So if it's too much of this sort of thing, the little pops of light popping through, it destroys that sense of shadow. That's the main reason there. So I'm looking at the various little values. As I add a color, all I'm trying to do is adjust that value. If I find it's too light or too dark, I just want to change the value slightly. Try to find a color close to what's there. What I did there, I picked up this color thinking that might be the right value, but it wasn't, but it worked perfect for here. So I just figured I shifted my thought and went into the little cast shadows with this value and tone. You know, it just thought, well, instead of wasting time looking for the right value again, I'll just use, that works for other areas, so let me just use that. Okay, so now that value is not right, but it's be perfect for over here. So when I put a color down, I'm just bouncing it around in other areas. If that value works over here, I might just throw a bit of that color there because I don't want colors to be isolated. Now I'm just taking the paper towel and just sort of knocking off some of those little light spots. And it also is creating sort of brushy quality, which is a fun edge. So I just took those very hard edge marks and I'm just trying to soften them up. But again, it's one of those things, too much can be overdone. Thank you. Now we've got the sunlight coming from this direction, so I need to add that sense of sunlight coming from the right side. So I'm going to add a bit more warmth in the sky. Very lightly. And add a little darker value. Okay, so there's a warm to cool thing going on there.